Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 4. Oh my gosh, time flies when you're having fun. I am just going to move some things. Yes, absolutely. I literally feel like I've got a fire underneath my butt and I'm going to take off. So let us take off. I'm hoping by today that you have watched the replays. And I am also really looking forward to seeing your homework dropped into the chats on the Facebook group. If you are not part of the Facebook group, please, please, please go and join. It is an amazing group of women, most probably on the same path as you, even though we're all in different stages of our journeys. Self-development and growth and transformation is ongoing. It's not something that will ever stop. Trust me when I say that you get to phases when you can look back and you say, oh, wow. I mean, look at how far I have come. I know that we constantly get triggered, and in my journey there's been times when I got triggered in a similar way that I got triggered before, and I would completely react differently, and I would look at the picture and think, oh my gosh, how far have I come? Because the previous me would have reacted like that, and the new me reacted like this. So throughout your journey, there will be rewards. There will be times when you are super grateful for who you are and who you are becoming. And it is magical. And there's no other word for it. It truly is magic. But without further ado, let us talk about how to overcome obstacles. I'm sure if you've watched the replays or if you've been on some of these, you will have hopefully done a little bit of soul searching and a little bit of thinking in terms of where you are at in certain areas of your life, whether it be in romance, whether it be in finances, whether it be in your business or your career. And you would have given some thought in terms of what are the obstacles. And I know some of the ladies commented, thank you very much for your comments. Things like procrastination, things like their own selves getting in their way, things like imposter syndrome. It's a big one. When you start a business like this, particularly, that is quite a big one to deal with. And then there's also probably not more subconscious, more underlying kind of obstacles that we face. And something that comes up quite a lot is the whole thing of boundaries. I speak to so many women who acknowledges the fact that they have people-pleasing tendencies. And I refrain from labeling. I really do not believe that if you have people-pleasing tendencies, when you find it really, and what is people-pleasing? When you find it really, really hard to say no to other people, and I'm not advocating saying no all the time. Of course, you want to help other people, but when you start helping and giving from an empty cup, ladies, your cup needs to be full before you can help other people. It's as simple as that. So when you give more than you have, when you say yes to other people to your own detriment. I also want to say, when you say yes to other people and afterwards, but when you say yes, I'll be there, I'll do that, I'll whatever, and you put the phone down and you think, why did I just do that? Why did I just say yes? It's not something I want to even get involved in. And when we do that, it's really a sign of boundaries, because more than often we get irritated with them for asking, isn't it? We like, how could they ask me this? I didn't want to do it. How are they supposed to know you don't want to do it if you don't say it? And when you don't say it, it means that there's an issue with your boundaries, your personal boundaries, not theirs. Personally, I think people are extremely brave when they ask for help. It's something that I battled with for most of my life. So when you say yes to things that you should not be saying yes to, it indicates that there's an issue with your boundaries, and that is something that you need to look at. So I'm going to go through a few of these obstacles, like boundaries, and make some suggestions as to how to overcome it. Please remember that I cannot possibly address everything that, that goes on for you. I don't know where you are at in your transformation or in your life. But here are some general ways of overcoming obstacles that might keep you stuck, that might keep you from living this absolutely amazing life that we are meant to live. We are meant to live a life of joy, of happiness, of fulfillment. We are meant to live full out. We are meant to thrive. We are meant to be confidently us. You are meant to confidently do you in absolutely every aspect of who you are. That is why we are on earth. That is why we are all unique. That's why we all have different thumbprints. That is, if we were meant to be similar to other people, if you were meant to be exactly the same as the girl next door who has the car, big car and big house and happy family, white picket fence and all of that, the things that you want, then why make us all different? Why create us all differently? Why are we created differently? Ask yourself that question. And also ask yourself, why specifically are you here? So how do we overcome the obstacles that comes in our way? First of all, if there is an obstacle or you foresee an obstacle, accept it. Everything starts with acceptance. Everything. The happy days, the sad days, the difficult days, the amazing days, all starts with accepting. So accept this obstacle. Like, okay, things are not working out. It is okay. It is what it is. Acknowledge it for what it is. Things are not going according to plan. Okay, they're not going according to plan. Tuesday in my life was a big example of when things don't go according to plan. They just don't go according to plan. My plan, I don't know what the bigger plan is. I know on Tuesday, I did not have the first day of my amazing webinar, but I did get a whole lot of shit done, which otherwise I might not have gotten done. Do you see where I'm going with this? We don't know what the plan is. So when we accept it, it does not mean that you are rolling over and dying. I don't have another example of that, unfortunately. But literally, it doesn't mean that you just saying, okay, I'm going off to my couch. I'm going to watch some Netflix series for the next 6 hours. And that it doesn't mean that that is what we are doing. That is not acceptance and acknowledgement. It just merely means that I'm not fighting this. And if you've ever done that, just accepted things instead of fighting it, then you will know the kind of absolute peace it creates. Absolute peace. So acknowledge it, accept it, and thank you very much for this obstacle, because clearly there's something I need to learn from it. Thank you. Again, do not resist it. The more you resist it, the more is it going to persist. That is so true. It sounds so cliched, but the more you resist it, the more does it persist. An example of that is if you are struggling with finances, and I'm going to guess that most of us have been there. If you focus on your very low bank balance, that is where your mind is focusing. That's where your subconscious mind is focusing. And it is going to, that is your belief. Your belief is that is the amount of money that I am going to have in my bank account. You're focusing on that. You're not focusing on where you want to be and where you can be. You keep fixating on this small thing, this low balance. If you keep focusing on that small bank balance, that is where it's going to stay. Because that's your truth. That is what your subconscious mind is taking on as your truth. And it will make damn well sure that that becomes true and it remains true for you. Whereas if you start envisioning and manifesting and thinking and getting excited and happy about an abundance, big bank balance, I'm happy, I'm living the life, then that is the life that you will start living. I also want to say, when you are faced with an obstacle, be real and be aware of what the obstacle is. It's the same as acknowledging it, but just don't sugarcoat it. Don't lie to yourself. Just, these are the facts. If you're being faced with a problem, just lay the facts out for yourself. Because if you are going to sugarcoat it, and if you're going to lie to yourself, you are stepping into a zone of being inauthentic with yourself. You don't want to be there. You want to be real. You want to literally keep it real. That is the only way you will figure out and have the clarity of getting over your obstacle. The next way of getting over your obstacle is, if you have a severe fear or worry, that is something that you need to identify and let go of. I read a fantastic book, and if you are interested in that, I can't remember. I think the name is like From Warrior to Warrior. But I'll be happy to share the title and the author with you. If you are, and fear has a massive effect on our body, on our mind, on how we act and behave. It sends us into fight or flight mode. Our whole chemistry changes. When you fear something, you are not going to make the right decision. You have to get yourself out of that fight or flight mode. And how do you do that? How do you get yourself, when you are vastly triggered and you are shivering with fear, sometimes sweating, sometimes you've got that ball of absolute, you can feel it in your stomach. Sometimes it goes even further and you can feel your heart is palpitating and you've got blood rushing through you. That you can picture a deer being attacked by a lion. That's exactly what it is. That's what we go through. How do you get yourself out of that state? Slow down. Probably not what the deer would have done. The deer would have run. But we need to slow down. You need to slow down. You need to go and sit. Breathe deeply. The more stressed and the more fear we have and the more inert we are, everything, our whole composure changes, our shoulders go forward, our stomach goes in, our breathing gets shallow. Next time when you're in that state, just become aware of what is happening in your body. You will feel all your muscles are tense, everything. So what you don't want to do is remain in that place of anxiety while making decisions, while trying to face this obstacle. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Have to get yourself out of that frantic state. And how do we do it? You roll your shoulders back. You sit upright. You uncross your legs. And you force yourself to take a deep breath and count. Focus on the counting. Count up to 4 times in. Keep it for 4 counts. And count up to 4 times out. And repeat that, because the first breath is probably not going to do it for you. So repeat that at least 4 or 5 times more. And with every breath, you start relaxing more. And what you're now doing is you are providing oxygen to all of these stressed cells, and you are rejuvenating them and you are reigniting them. And ladies, you might tell me, I don't have time. Yes, you do. You have to make time. You have to absolutely, even if you go to the bathroom, we always have that. We can always use that. Excuse me, I'm going to the bathroom. We will always have that excuse. So go to the bathroom if you've got no other options, and just go and sit and be with it. Take the time out. If you have ever used this before, please drop in the comments if it worked for you. If it didn't work for you, I would love to hear as well. Thanks, Debs. I don't want to know. I hope you've got me on full volume so that everybody can hear and share in the camera. Okay, so if you have tried this before, I would love to hear from you because yeah. So what we also want to do when we are in our fight or flight mode, and if you're already frantically worried about something, is find a happy place for you in your mind. Find a happy place for you, whether you are sitting next to the ocean on the rocks, whether you are playing with your feet in the sand, whether you are playing with your little kiddies or grandchildren, whatever that extremely happy place is for you. Find that happy place and remind yourself often of that happy place, but particularly when you go into one of these frantic situations where you are just stressed out of your mind and worried out of your mind, go to that happy place, because there's a chemical reaction that happens when you go to that happy place. And I know for a fact that it will calm you down. In terms of overcoming obstacles, sometimes we are faced with like 100 things that we need to do at a time, and we start multitasking. And we start touching everywhere and doing something everywhere and just frantically run around like chicken without a head. Don't do that. Take 5 minutes to prioritize what it is that you need to do. Take 5 minutes to just write down what you need to do and start taking action on one of them. Just one. The wonderful thing about doing that is as you can even have a tick box list. As you tick them off or scratch them out or throw them into the bin, as you complete them, something happens inside of you. You're being rewarded. You feel like you're achieving something. And the more you feel like you're achieving something and you're winning at something, the more do you want to do the next thing. So find an easy, quick fix kind of thing that you can just knock off. Because I can almost guarantee that once you've finished that, you will be ready for the next one. And that could be a difficult one. I also believe in rewards. So do you reward yourself? If you manage to achieve something that's big, and if you have overcome something, reward yourself with whatever your reward system is to you, from you to you. And tomorrow, I want to talk a little bit more about rewarding ourselves and really looking after ourselves and our inner child, our inner being. The next thing that you can do in terms of obstacles, ladies, if you can't fix it, let it go. Let it go. If it's not going to change your world and your life and whatever forever, and just realistically it's not worth your attention, then let it go. We often women get pulled into these things that we think we should fix. You don't have to fix the whole world. You don't have to fix everybody's problems. You don't have to fix. There's certain things that you don't have to do. Look at your obstacles. Really look at them. Really, really look at your obstacles and honestly make a decision. Is this worth my time and my effort? Is this going to move me forward? Is this going to be a growth, something that will find? Is this something that you will, be able to use somewhere in your future? The next thing that you do when your obstacle comes in your way, and it was an obstacle that you kind of created, do not judge yourself. You're going to be spending so much time and energy on judging yourself. And you're not going to overcome your obstacle. So if your obstacle provides for self-blame or self-judgment, let it go. Forgive yourself. We are so quick to forgive other people. We're so slow in forgiving ourselves and not judging ourselves, not blaming ourselves. Do not be hard on yourself. If you created your obstacle, just don't be hard on yourself. Oh my goodness, we all make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. I've made plenty of mistakes, and I've completely forgiven myself all the crap that I did in my life. It's honestly not worth holding on to. And even if you hurt someone, and that is the hardest thing to get over. That is literally the hardest thing to get over. Forgive yourself. Don't blame yourself. Don't judge yourself. Because if you were sitting in front of your best friend, what advice would you give that person? What would you tell your friend? People make mistakes. Forgive yourself. The next thing that you can do is change your environment. Not always possible, I know that. But if your environment is something that is preventing you from moving forward, if it's an obstacle for you, the people that you surround yourself with, ladies, that is what you're going to become. Because you're going to be trying to excel. You're going to be trying to do more and be more. But the people that you surround yourself with is probably not going to understand what's going on in your life. They're not going to be supportive. For whatever reason, and we're not judging, we're just saying, it might also be that this home that you're living in, or this country that you're living in, or this, wherever it is that you're living in, and whatever your close environment is physically, might not be the best place for you if you want to grow. Be real about it. Oh, Janine, welcome. Welcome, my friend. Sending a whole lot of love to you. I get it. I understand that it is not always easy. And I understand that we cannot always change our environment. And I can understand that we more than often get given things that we have to deal with that makes absolutely no sense. I get that. the best that we can do under those circumstances is equip ourselves fully to be able to deal with whatever is going on in our environments. When you are in an environment that is difficult, and we've all been there, the only way you can make a difference in terms of where you are at is to work on your own mindset. Because the more love you have for yourself, and the more acceptance you have for yourself, and the more, I can guarantee that if you love yourself, if you live from a place of feeling and love and acceptance, then whatever your circumstances are that you cannot change will become easier to bear. The other thing that you can do as well is to ask for help. But at the same time, allow other people to carry the burden, or to share the burden of the responsibility. If you are feeling overwhelmingly responsible for wherever you are at, you're probably putting more responsibility on your own shoulders than you need to. If you really think about it, we as women take responsibility more than often for the feelings. You know, even the feelings for the people around us, and if you're an empath, it's actually more so. I mean, I remember when kids came home from school and someone was not nice to them, you know, I would totally feel responsible for what happened, and I wasn't even there. Whatever you do not need to feel responsible for, do not feel responsible for it. You cannot possibly, you are responsible for the words you use, and be very careful of the words that you use, because words have power. But if you use your words with kindness and with love and with acceptance and non-judgment, that's your responsibility. How people feel or react after you have said something is not your responsibility. It sounds terrible, I know. But how can we possibly go around feeling responsible for absolutely everybody that comes into our world? It's impossible. You will be so freaking burnt out at the end of the day. You take responsibility for how you feel and react to what other people say. You take responsibility for the set of glasses that you have, that you look through, and allow other people to feel and act, react the way they need to. Because actually, if you take responsibility for how they react and how they feel when you say something, that is disrespectful towards them. Think about it. That's manipulative, by the way. Think about it. It's also controlling. Because what you're going to be doing is a vicious circle. what you're going to be doing is you're going to be so focused on how they are going to act and react and feel that you're going to change your words. And you're not going to be authentic, and you're not going to be truthful. And that does not serve anybody. So again, if you've got an obstacle where you need help, and sometimes we don't even realize we need help. Sometimes we are just so tired and so exhausted and so burnt out that we don't even realize we need help. So if you are at that point, just reach out to someone. Just reach out. It's all you need to do. Just reach out. Ladies, I'm sharing a lot of information with you, and if you will allow me, I would love to invite you to come and work with me. I would love to be able to support you and to be that person to guide you through your transformational journey, through your, I mean, I am sharing a lot of information, but of course, and after the end of tomorrow, you can use this information, you can watch the replays, and you can change your life as from today. You can make an impact on your life as of today. But if you feel you need more help, and you can do with more support and more help, and allow me to guide you through the transformational process, I would love for you to, I would love to share. I've got a program that I'm launching, and I would love to share a little bit more about that later. But anyway, so let's talk about setting boundaries. Why is it so important for us to share boundaries? And a lot of what I've just talked about is a clear indication that we don't have boundaries. If you don't have boundaries, if you are that person that's there in a flash and you forget about what you've got on your plate, and you're giving from an empty cup, it means your boundaries are not set clear. And how do you set clear boundaries? How do we, I mean, we talk about setting boundaries. We know, I mean, we teach our kids to set boundaries for themselves, don't we? We also kind of teach through parenting. We try to set boundaries for our children, don't we? To the mothers out there. But more than often, our boundaries are, I mean, when our no is not no, it's an extended yes, then we know our boundaries are not clear. So how do we set our boundaries clear? We become 100% confident in who we are. If you know exactly who you are, who you want to be, and to whom, if you have got that absolute clear picture of who this person is, if you have absolute love, acceptance, non-judgment for this person, then you will be able to confidently set boundaries. Then you would be confident enough to say, you know what, I believe in your project. I believe it will be amazing, but I am not going to participate in whatever project that you have got going. I'm sorry, it's not my thing. And the way you will say it is with kindness and with grace and with love. If you have dealt with traumas from the past, and particularly things that happened as a child that made you feel not worthy, not good enough, then you will be able to set boundaries. If you have not done that, vice versa, if you are not feeling enough, if you feel not feeling worthy, you're going to be looking for external valuation of of that loss that you're feeling, of that gap. And how? By acknowledgement from other people, by doing things that temporarily makes you feel better about you. But the fact of the matter is, those are all temporary. So you're going to be in the cycle of wanting to do and show and help unauthentically. There was a time in my life, and this is hard to say, when I wanted to help other people, but I was so broken inside that I can truthfully tell you today, my offered help was not authentic. I wanted to feel better. It was about me. It wasn't about them. It wasn't about them. I'm sorry to say that. When you don't feel the love and the acceptance, when you don't feel enough, then you're going to look for it externally. Anything to make you feel better about yourself. If you don't like what you see in the mirror, if you cannot have that loving conversation with yourself in the mirror, and I know that's freaking hard to do, is to stand in front of a mirror and say, you've got this, hey gorgeous. So many doors open when you get there. And I have to be honest, I still have to check in with myself. When I help other people, I still have to check in with myself. Am I doing it for them or am I doing it for me? That's a huge and a very quick test to see how you feel about yourself. And are you on track in terms of, are you in sync? Are you acting in sync in terms of who you are, what you want in life, what your values are? I will always get back to that because it is so important to know what your values are. If you know what your values are, one of my values is caring for other people. So I know when I care for other people, I'm acting in sync with who I truly am. The next way to overcome obstacles is to change your vision, change your glasses, change your mindset. It's literally the same thing as things look differently. When I look at the screen like that and I put my glasses on, it looks different. Things look different. Well, at the moment it's a bit blurry because they're a bit dirty, but you know what I'm saying is put another pair of glasses on. When you look at an obstacle and all you feel is overwhelmed and, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? This is the end of the world. No, I am not going to get through this. When you are there, try someone else's glasses and see what they will see. This whole Chris Rock incident with, what's his name? Not great with names. But that whole incident, to me, just to me, that just iterated how many different sets of glasses there can be, because every single person had a different opinion on whether Chris Rock should have been slapped at the award ceremony. Everybody had a different view. And do you know what was so apparent in terms of the people's views? Is how their values, how their own personal values came out in their views. Test it. What was your view? One of my values is fairness and justice. I don't think any of them were right. I think they were all wrong. I think the whole situation was wrong. So try another pair of glasses. How can I see an opportunity from this? How can I use this one thing that is happening to me right now, this obstacle in my way? How can I use this as an opportunity for growth? If you just change things things happen, life happens. And without sounding trivial, I understand that there's horrendous things that happens. And I'm not saying switch off the emotions, or of course. All I'm saying is the way you look at something. Maybe there's another way of looking at it. Maybe you can learn from this. What can I learn from this? Yes, this happened. Okay, what can I learn from this? Maybe how can I do it differently the next time? Even more importantly, how can I use this thing that happened to me and help other people with it? When you take the focus of your own this horrible situation you're in, when you take that focus of you and put it onto, okay, how can I help someone else with it? It already lifts the burden, doesn't it? Talk about time management. I'm kind of running almost out of time here. Learn to manage your time, ladies. Do learn to manage your time. Plan ahead. Plan ahead. If you've got a busy week ahead, plan your week on a Sunday evening. Make sure that you know what you're going to be doing. And at the end of the week, you can look back and you say, I did that and I did that and I didn't get to that, but I did something else. There's so many ways of managing our time better. Talk about conflict. I come from a family who does not enjoy conflict. If any one of them are on here, they will vouch for it. We don't do conflict very well. In fact, I think well, I for certain went the extreme opposite of completely avoiding conflict at all costs. Not my proudest moment. If you have a conflict that needs to happen, if there is something not happening and not working well with someone in your environment, calm yourself down, clear your mind, and figure out how you can resolve this conflict in the kindest, most loving way. Again, you cannot control how the other person reacts to your kind, loving way of wanting to resolve the conflict. Try and be results driven. Find a solution rather than. But I can almost guarantee that if you and someone else who's got a similar personality, who doesn't like conflict, who's all about love and care and whatever, If the two of you come together, there will not be conflict. There will be a resolution or solution. If you both listen to each other, hear each other out, don't avoid the conflict, because the longer you avoid it, the bigger it becomes. I don't have to say this. I know you've all experienced it. Again, I just want to address the people-pleasing behavior. Recognize people-pleasing behavior when you are confronted with obstacles. Whether it's, sometimes we kind of see the other person being a people-pleaser, don't we? Like we know, oh, you're just saying this. Actually, don't authentically mean it or feel it. But you can't say it like that. Please don't, because that will create the conflict that you've been trying to avoid. But if you see someone being people-pleasing, then there's nothing wrong with helping them along and saying, you know, are you sure this is something you want to do? Give them an opportunity to get out of it. So it works for you as well as for the other person that you're dealing with. Very importantly, recognize guilt and shame. Ladies, if you're sitting with guilt and shame is the same as fear. You cannot act authentically if you're sitting with guilt and shame. Those feelings are extremely heavy. Guilt and shame is like a cancer. You can picture this cancer in your heart. That's what it is. It will consume everything. It will change your behavior. It will change how you act, react, feel. Let go. To the single mothers out there who are raising their kids by themselves, let go. Let go of the guilt. Let go of whatever shame you might feel. It's disabling. And perfectionism, I also talked about perfectionism yesterday. Yeah, I want to, before I touch quickly on my my program, I want to just give you some practical tips of how to deal with obstacles. So the first thing is just slow down. And please write this down. This is really powerful tools that you can use. Okay, slow down, let go, breathing techniques. I gave you one of literally hundreds of breathing techniques. There are so many breathing techniques that can ground you. Take your shoes off, sit with your feet on the earth. Mother Earth, beautiful Mother Earth that gave us life, gives us birds and flowers and trees and stuff. And breathe properly. I can do a whole talk about breathing and why it is so important to breathe properly. Meditate, same thing as breathing, just that you are allowing yourself to completely slow down. You're allowing your head and all this noise to slow down. You're allowing yourself to become conscious of your moment. If you do guided meditation, you allow yourself, you can manifest, you can think about your future and feel. It's powerful tool, powerful tool. Exercise. Even if you go for a brisk walk or just go for a walk on the beach or in the park or somewhere, get out, get into nature, exercise, get your heartbeat going. There's certain endorphins and stuff that gets greater. I mean, you've heard all of this before. Go for a walk. Get into a daily routine that supports your growth and your transformation and you wanting to thrive, that supports this amazing future that you want. Repeat affirmations. If you find that you've got limiting beliefs and thoughts, repeat affirmations. I'll repeat these tips again tomorrow. I just decided that I'm going to do that because I don't want to rush through them. Some of them are just so, valuable. Okay, and your homework for today, before I talk about my program, your homework for today is to please write in the chat, share in the chat the one thing that you believe you can do immediately today to make a change in your life towards your future. Just one thing. One thing. I'm hoping you can come up with more, but I just want to see one thing. Okay, so I'm going to touch quickly on my program. I'm just going to give you a high level. Tomorrow I'll talk more about it, and I would love to share more about how it works. But it's an 8-week transformational program that is called Permission to Thrive. And after this program, that's exactly what you are going to be doing. You're going to go from wherever you are, and whether you are feeling lost, whether you're feeling disillusioned, whether you're just coming out of the divorce, whether you're coming out of a toxic relationship, whether you are empty nest, whether your life is just changing and you don't know what's next, whether you want to change career, whether you realize, whatever situation, whatever I'm meeting you at, after the program, you are going to know exactly who you are, exactly who you want to be, and to whom you want to be. After the program, you are going to have full-on clarity of what you want your future to look like. And that future will be aligned to your true values, to your core purpose. You will find your purpose through this program, and your future will be aligned to what that purpose is. You will rekindle your passions. You will get clear on what your priorities are and what things you want to focus on, full on. We will deep delve in your subconscious beliefs and your stories. We will peel that onion until we get to the real things that's holding you back. We will establish, I will guide you and help you to establish new beliefs. It's all possible. I will help you with that. And affirmations. We'll set goals to make sure that this future that you created, that you designed, that it will happen. And then as a sideline, we will look at your habits. By then, hopefully, some of your habits would have changed, but it's an 8-week program. You will be working one-on-one with me. I will provide you with a few bonuses in terms of how to meditate. I will also have an additional, I will have weekly meetings with you, sessions with you, and an introductory session where we get to know each other a little bit, and we determine where it is, what you see, and where you are at. And yeah, at the end of this, you are going to be able to confidently step into your power and go and be you. And the wonderful thing about this program is it's forever. You've got access to it forever. And yeah, so I'm going to share more about that tomorrow. I'm going to leave it at that for today. But I thank you and I honor you for being here and spending this hour with me again today. And more importantly, I honor you for taking out the time for your growth and your transformation and your future. And I am extremely excited. Tomorrow we are going to talk a little bit more about the tips, but I also want to tomorrow talk more about how we care for who we are. How do we reconnect? How do we find love, and how do we just look after our inner worlds? Because I'm going to guess that if you watched the replays, that there might have been some triggers, and there might have been a lot of stuff coming up for you, and maybe something that you wanted to change. And so that is what I am looking forward to doing with you tomorrow. So have a wonderful evening and enjoy your Friday evening and afternoon. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, ladies.